Good afternoon. I'm Martin Donovan. I'm the Estates and Facilities Manager for Coleg Cymru. My colleague is Shane Evans. He's Corporate Estates for the Fire and Rescue Service. We've got a large title today for our presentation: Efficiency, Opportunities and Decarbonisation, Scoping Existing Estates. But it's taken us a little while to get to that point, so if I take you through the process. So initial challenges and thoughts. We all came to the process with our own issues that we were looking for solutions as we went through the process. A significant one for colleagues in estates and facilities would be the journey to net zero. It's a very daunting challenge, and for us to achieve 2030 by within the public sector, within Wales, it has to be the biggest challenge for many years and probably for a generation. Identifying practical solutions to achieving a pathway to net zero. Obviously, it's a very, in a broad sense, a large view. So there are tools, carbon management action plans, clearly outline a route to achieving these carbon savings year on year. But this crosses many functions of operation within a large organisation. The practicalities of operating in the here and now. When you're in complex organisations, there's pressures to meet immediate operational requirements across the organisation, which includes funding. There is much short-term thinking, and this is particularly linked to how we do receive funding from the funding bodies when they release funds potentially late in a financial year. Influencing change in large multi-site organisation. This is another critical area because obviously we all work in specific fields and we have specific roles. So departments working in silos with different objectives and targets depending on those roles. There's a limited understanding of the bigger picture vision among many managers. Addressing issues and challenges outside immediate control. One of them, which Shane will expand on, was space utilisation. Other one is procurement. And estates are impacted by others who have control in different areas. Potentially within my area, curriculum timetabling, there's a business unit, external users, procurement, with multiple decision makers all coming to the fore.
So defining the challenge using the circular economy design methodology. So through challenging orthodox standardised thinking when problem solving, I think a lot of people have touched on it throughout the cohort. The practical challenges that we sort of come across, I think, was really enjoyable, and I thought it was best suited to a lot of people's learning, which sort of led us to where we was going with ours. Understanding and empathising with different viewpoints of end users, colleagues, stakeholders and partners. I think with regards to this, going back and speaking with other people was a real eye-opener, and sort of opened up the views of other people, and that not everyone was on the same page as everybody else. Being open to explore potential new ideas. I think, again, touching on the previous part, it was listening to colleagues and stakeholders and seeing what they had in mind and what changes they want to make. Seeing examples of best practice in various settings and different applications. I think, again, it was looking at other organisations and seeing where they were with their journey, and looking at what we could implement for our project. And defining potential solutions. Again, going on for seeing what other people had done. It was looking to see what was the best practice and addressing those really, and then defining our challenge itself. Testing these solutions, it was we looked at various options, going back to stakeholders with ideas that we had and seeing the feasibility of them, and then addressing those as well. So the results. Using the methodology, this challenge understanding of the existing process and the practicalities of implementing various potential solutions. Our main one that we focused on was improving space utilisation. We sort of, with Martin's estate and the fire service, we've got a lot of community rooms which go unused during the normal working week. And Martin, obviously, with his estate, there was a lot of sort of rooms which were free to be used, and they weren't getting used to its capacity. So it was linking up then with other groups, external groups, like there was creches and sort of gyms and stuff like that, looking to use, see if they were open to using the space that we had throughout the project. So initially it was an inability to accurately project the building usage and business needs related to the estate on a short and mid-term basis, as available data is currently not based on actuals but more projections. Although me and Martin were sort of in charge of the estate side, we didn't really have a direct link to those areas and didn't have much influence on those sort of letting out the rooms to other users. So I think it was more projections really than factual. And then, which everyone's really touched on today, really, there's a lack of knowledge within the organisation at decision-making level with regards to sustainable procurement. I think for us on this cohort, going back to our organisations and showing everyone what we've experienced and passing on that knowledge is key. I know a lot of people have touched on that today, and I think us being that drive then will change the culture going forward.
Thank you. Our last slide is a solution. We haven't come to a solution really. It's just a process which is going to continue, which is something we've learned from going through the CAPE course. A solution can be achieved by embedding strategic aims within the estate strategy of an organisation. This includes the commitment and timeline to achieving net zero, reference to the Carbon Management Action Plan, incorporate all relevant aspects of the Wellbeing and Future Generations Act, and space utilisation, as we identified as initial poor efficiency issue, set by space type. It became clear that the solution needs to be based on the macro rather than the micro. Us zooming in just to look at space utilisation, we would look at building up that use in a building that maybe, when we look at a decarbonisation programme, would not be appropriate. So when we go to the macro, that document would encompass the strategic aims of any institution. It needs to be fully understood and embedded within the organisation's management structure and procedures. This is so that all other managers within their areas all understand there's a specific route that the organisation is taking strategically. The use of within the document, business justification cases will be required with a direct linkage to strategic aims for any significant purchases or project. This will also require environmental impact assessments, sustainable procurement and decarbonisation modelling where refurbs are taking place. The use of business justification case when undertaking these purchases is a backup position, so that all major decisions for an organisation are based on the long-term strategic goals, particularly sustainable development and sustainable operation. If these cannot be measured or defined, then they cannot proceed. a number of business justification cases that do pass this requirement need to be progressed to a stage that where funds are made available, that they can be progressed quickly. So instead of waiting for money and then panicking on where we're going to spend it, you've gone through the process, you've gone through the business justification case, it links with all the strategic aims, and you have it to a stage that it can be progressed and funded. A decarbonisation scoping exercise across the estate would be undertaken identifying opportunities throughout the estate with regard to prioritising specific buildings suitable for carbon reduction and refurbishments. Buildings in the estates have a significant carbon implication, and therefore the development, use and refurbishment must be prioritised based on opportunities, both moving forward and to limit and reduce the organisation's carbon footprint. The document will define how performance is measured against clearly set targets over a set period of time. Initial estate strategy document is a high-level document, but will reference supporting documentation and appendices relating to the above, and give clear guidance on how future development is undertaken and how performance of the estate and the organisation as a whole will be measured, monitored and targeted. As we said, we're going to be going back to our organisations, pushing for this and trying to embed these processes into a higher level document which will then reference other more detailed documents related to procurement, related to future generations and the such thing. And that's where we are at the moment. Thank you very much for listening.